Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nala and today I'm going to be doing my August TBR. It is now the end of July, which means it is time to make my August TBR list. Now, if you don't already know, I am a mood reader, which basically means that this list could drastically change. It could not change at all, or it could change, just a little bit, I can usually tell and kind of gauge how long my mood will last. Like, for example, I have been on a recent mystery slash thriller slash suspense kick as of late, so I know that I am in the mood for that. I'm in the mood for fantasy, but I'm like really in the mood for that suspense thriller type feel, which means that if I'm gonna read fantasy, it's gonna have to be more like gothic type fantasy. Of course, I do have some on this list that are not of that caliber, but that is kind of the kick that I'm on, so I'm definitely gonna choose stories that are kind of falling into this kind of, recent pattern as of late. This is really an MBR, a maybe be read list, a possibility of reading plans, but usually I'm pretty good at, since I'm good at gauging my mood, I'm pretty good at sticking to that list. So, without further ado, let's hop, skippity jump right to the books. First up is going to be the Luminaries by Susan Dennard. This one is going to be a buddy read that I am doing with Teresa over from Sweet Tea Reads. I will link her channel down below. I am really excited for this one. This is a YA gothic type of fantasy. Here's just a little snippet, a little piece of the premise. Hemlock Falls isn't like other towns. You won't find it on a map, your phone won't work here, and the forest outside town might just kill you. Winnie Wednesday wants nothing more than to join the Luminaries, the ancient order that protects Winnie's town and the rest of humanity from the monsters and nightmares that rise in the forest of Hemlock Falls every night. And I mean, Winnie Wednesday. There may be some comedy involved in this story as well, considering the names that I'm reading in this premise. But I mean, there's also a deadly luminary hunter trials. She has to prove herself in to restore her family's name or die. So I mean, there's the chosen hero trope, basically, that I'm picking up on here. But yeah, that the forest, like a gothic forest, like sinister forest. I need that. I'm here for it. Ever since I read Small Favors by Erin Craig. If you haven't read that, it's a YA thriller slash soft horror-esque, and it has the village vibes. Small secluded town in the middle of a forest. Sinister things are happening in the forest. I don't know if this one is like the forest is alive or if there's things in the forest, but anyway, that type of premise screams atmosphere, and I'm all about the atmosphere, especially right now. Like, atmospheric reads, I kind of am digging that right now. I kind of need that. So I'm really, really hoping that this one delivers and that Teresa and I will have a great time with this one. Second choice is Heartbroken by Lisa Unger. Now, this is going to be my first Lisa Unger novel. I was reading a list of her books, and this one jumped out to me to start with first because of atmosphere. Again, this screams atmosphere. This is a suspense. I'm not sure if how like thriller like it would be, but I definitely know this is suspense. So here's just a little piece of the premise. Kate has written a novel based on a tragic love story from her family's past. Emily is a struggling waitress whose toxic relationship with the wrong man has led her to make a horrible life-altering decision. Without knowing each other and with lives that couldn't be more different, they head to the same point on the map, Heart Island. It's an idyllic place in the middle of an Adirondack lake and home I'm not sure if I know that word. And home to a harsh and unyielding matriarch, Bertie Burke. Okay, so we have 3 people now. These three women find themselves on a heart-wrenching collision course with dark memories, restless ghosts, and one another. And unbeknownst to them all, Heart Island has a terrifying history of its own. So yeah, that atmosphere is kind of like haunting, gothic type atmosphere. Again, like with this type of story, it's suspense, and I'm sure like traumatic and dramatic things are going to come out from these three women, but they're also like going to find solace in each other and possibly help each other heal. I don't know, but I'm interested in the history of this island. Heart Island at that. Like, I really want to know what dark, sinister things have happened on this island, and it's quite possible that these three women are drawn to this island for a purpose. We shall see. Next up is going to be The Ancestor by Danielle Trussoni. Again, this is a gothic mystery. Buzzwords: gothic, suspense, mysteries of genetics, family inheritance / dark secrets. Those are like the big buzzword type things in the premise. After a DNA test reveals that Alberta Bert Monte is the sole heir of a wealthy noble family in the Italian Alps, she leaves New York to visit the family estate, Monte Bianco Castle. Yes. A centuries-old compound isolated in the mountains. Atmosphere, people. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What appeared to be a fairy tale inheritance, however, soon turns into a nightmare as Bert begins to uncover the dark legacy of her family. The truth about the abandoned village at the base of the castle, the whispers of stolen children, and the rumors of a legendary monster in the mountains. As Bert unravels the truth, she learns that her true inheritance lies not in a noble title or ancestral treasures, but in her very genes. And now she must choose between preserving a secret centuries in the keeping or abandoning it forever. A blend of science, myth, and mystery. I mean, does that not draw you in? I need to know. I need to know. Like, yes, I'm so excited for this one. Next up is going to be The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek by Kim Richardson. Now, this one is my historical fiction pick. I have not dived into a historical fiction in quite some time, and I'm really thinking I need that right now as well to kind of like break up the pace. I'm craving a historical fiction, and this one is a historical fiction based on the Packhorse Library Project. This would be the second book that I would have read on this subject. And the first book, if you haven't heard me talk about it before in one of my videos that I think I mentioned it in a couple videos of mine, The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. That talks about the all-female Packhorse librarians set in the backwoods of Kentucky during the time where the Roosevelts were in office, because Eleanor Roosevelt was the one that funded the project. It was something I never knew of before. That book really taught me a lot. First off, it taught me about that, and it taught me a lot about what these women went through. So this is another story based on these women. And if I'm not mistaken, I think our main character might be the daughter of one of those women. Stand by. In 1936, tucked deep into the woods of Troublesome Creek, Kentucky, lives blue-skinned 19-year-old Cussie Carter, the last living female of the rare blue people ancestry. The lonely young Appalachian woman joins the historical Packhorse Library Project of Kentucky and becomes a librarian, riding across slippery creek beds and up treacherous mountains on her faithful mule to deliver books and other reading material to the impoverished hill people of eastern Kentucky. Along her dangerous route, Cussie, known to the mountain folk as Bluette, confronts those suspicious of her damselfly, that's another word I'm not used to at all, blue skin, and the government's new book program. She befriends hardscrabble and complex fellow Kentuckians and is fiercely determined to bring comfort and joy, instill literacy, and give to those who have nothing a bookly respite, a fleeting retreat to faraway lands. It really, oh my gosh, I love reading about this, the Pack Horse Librarian women. I love reading about them. Clearly I've only read one story about them, but it just really shows how much books transformed these people's lives. The lives of the people that the books that were being given to and brought to, but also the lives of the women, the mobile female librarians that were doing it in the first place. They're going through all kinds of weather conditions and terrain. You got to have survival skill. I mean, please read more about this, especially if you don't know anything about it. It's going to enlighten you. I will say that that the book is more female oriented, the book by Jojo Moyes, The Giver of Stars, because number one, they're all female librarians, so you're getting the point of view from women, and it was set during a time where women were going through quite some interesting things. So you will learn a little bit about that as well. I just think it's important to read from another's perspective. Just like if there were books that were geared more towards men, like all of our characters were men and coming at things from their point of view, and if men had to deal with certain things during a certain time frame, I would like to know that, because I want to experience those emotions and the empathy and a different thought, and being in the thought process of that. I think it's important to be able to do that with the opposite sex and also different cultures, just having a different just stepping into someone outside of yourself from a different background or from a different way of life, or like I said, from the opposite sex. I think it's important. But anyway, I digress. Yes, I'm looking forward to this one. I don't even remember the last time I read a historical fiction. It's been long enough, apparently. All right, next one is going to be The Skin by J.E. Hannaford. Now this one is the one I've been like itching to get to, and I'm not waiting anymore. Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump into it this month. This is a YA fantasy, and this will be my first Selkie story. I never knew anything about Selkies before. I was asking my best friend Serena, I brought it, I was like, what is a Selkie? And she got excited because she knew all about Selkies, and she told me what they were and kind of like the myth. I'm not sure what is, I guess, you know, I have to look into that, like where it comes from. Maybe Scotland. I have to double check. But I am interested to dive into a Selkie story because it would be my first time. There's just a little bit of the premise. So I think this is book one in a duology, and the duology is called Black Hind's Wake. How far would you go to save your skin? I'm a Selkie trapped above the waves until I can recover my skin. Humans used to call us seal wives many years ago before they broke the planet. I thought that less humans after the warming would mean less danger. My kind believed our world was finally recovering. We were wrong. Up here, the magic is fading, and old ones like me are being traded as trophies for rich and powerful humans to display in collections. Without the old ones, the magic fades. Without magic, the planet dies. Humankind has gone too far, and someone has to put a stop to it. I just wasn't expecting it to be me. As the Selkie begins her hunt far to the south on his enormous pleasure ship barge, Lord Sao hunts for missing old ones with a grand plan to leave his own mark on the world. In a world where money talks louder than morals. Yeah. So apparently Selkies are like half seal. And so like how a mermaid is like half human, half fish, a Selkie I think is like half woman, half seal. Like they can shed their seal skins while they're human, but like I think the humans are stealing the skins or something like that. Like their seal skins while they're human. So I'm really interested on how this process works and like and especially in this type of storyline. I have high hopes for this one. I've been itching to get to it. I'm really hoping it's a 5-star. Next up, we have Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. Okay, this one is a YA fantasy female Count of Monte Cristo retelling. Now, I remember a few years back when this was, I don't know how hyped it was, but it was talked about a lot. At least the booktubers I was watching years ago back then, what they were all talking about it. I love the Count of Monte Cristo, and that's really all I need to know about this. I don't need to jump into the premise. If it's a female retelling of the Count of Monte Cristo, it's set on the sea, so we have a seafaring story. And I'm still in that mood. Like after my June readathon, the Once Upon a Readathon that I took part in June, I read a lot of stories set on the sea, whether it was mermaids, sirens, pirates. Like I'm still in that zone. I want at least one more story set on the sea with ships, and so I am interested in this. I really hope it delivers. The Count of Monte Cristo, I'm in the mood for that too. Then next I have The Crown of Feathers by Nikki Preto. Yeah. All right, now this one was a soft DNF from years ago. I did a soft DNF of this years ago, and I haven't picked it up since, and I wasn't in the right headspace for it back then when I first picked it up, and I want to see if it will work for me now. And I'm in the mood for phoenixes. Like, I kind of need some phoenix riders and phoenixes in my life now. I'm in the mood for that. So here's a little bit of the premise. Okay, so this is book one in a trilogy. I completely forgot that it was a trilogy. This is a debut fantasy novel about a girl who disguises herself as a boy to join a secret group of warriors that ride phoenixes into battle. We have an empire built upon the backs of phoenix riders, legendary heroes who soared through the sky on wings of fire until a war between two sisters ripped it all apart. I promised her the throne would not come between us. Okay, so we have two sisters. I'm thinking, okay, used to be close and they become rivals. Betrayal. Whew. Sister love becomes sister betrayal. Rivalry. Sometimes the title of queen is given, sometimes it must be taken. Crown of Feathers is an epic fantasy about love's incredible power to save or to destroy. Interspersed throughout is the story of Avalkyra Ashfire, the last rider queen who would rather see her empire burn than fall into her sister's hands. Whew, okay. I'm feeling the tension. There's tension. I don't know if you feel it, but I feel it. So I don't know if this is YA or NA. I thought it was YA, but if it's new adult, correct me if I'm wrong, let me know. YA or NA, one or the other. I'm in the mood for it. Next up is A Plague of Giants by Kevin Hearn. Now, this is book one in the 7 Kenning series, and Teresa, Miss Sweet Tea, she was the one that put this on my radar. She loved it. It's a series. I think the 3rd book is going to be released soon. Stand by. Let me get more information on this. So the 3rd book is going to be released in November. That's set to release in November. So it'll be a trilogy. Not sure if it's going past being a trilogy. Do not know yet. What is this one about? Let's see. We have shape-shifting bards, fire-wielding giants, and children who can speak to astonishing beasts. Mother and warrior Talon is a soldier who has already survived her toughest battle, losing her husband. But now she finds herself on the front lines of an invasion of giants, intent on wiping out the entire kingdom, including her 2 sons, who that's all she has left. The stakes have never been higher. I would sure say so. If she fails, her boys may never become men. Scholar and spy. Dervin is a historian who longs for a simple, quiet life, but he's drawn into intrigue when he's hired to record the tales of a mysterious bard who may be a spy or even an assassin for a rival kingdom. As the bard shares his fantastical stories, Dervin makes a shocking discovery. He may have a connection to the tales, one that will bring his own secrets to light. Rebel and hero. Abby's family have always been hunters, but Abby wants to choose a different life for himself. Embarking on a journey of self-discovery, he soon learns that his identity is far greater than he imagined. A powerful new magic thrust upon him may hold the key to defeating the giants once and for all if it doesn't destroy him first. It seems like we're in the POV of 3 people, and they all kind of intertwine and maybe connected in some way. Teresa loves this, and Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, she gave this 5 stars and wrote a review on this. She loved it hands down. So I am really intrigued. I have yet to read a story that has giants in it as well. So I am really actually hyping this up. I want this. I really want this. That's all I gotta say about that. Book number 9, because so far I have my list as a total of 10. So book number 9 is my physical book of the month, and I tend to read 1 physical book a month, the rest are on audio. So my physical book for August is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, which is book 1 in the Kingkiller Chronicles. Now, I have been trekking through this for quite a while. I have like a quarter left to go. Now, the reason I haven't finished it yet is because I've jumped into readathons, and I have not had the time to prioritize The Name of the Wind. And like I said, I only have like a quarter bit of it left, and then I'm done. Like, I'm almost done, and I love it. I love it. So far, I loved it. Everything I've read, I have loved. You will see my thoughts on it in, my August end of the month wrap up. But I need to finish. I need to finish the last bit of this book. So that's going to count towards my physical book. And if I finish it early and I decide I want to pick up another physical, then you got to stay tuned for my wrap up video to see which physical book, the other physical book I jumped into. So on my list right now, that is, even though I only have a quarter bit left to go, that's still going to count as my physical read for the month of August. A lot of us know what Name of the Wind is about, but if you have been living under a rock and it's your first time hearing about it, I will read a little bit of the premise for this one. It says, told in Quoth's own voice, this is the tale of the magically gifted young man who grows to be the most notorious wizard his world has ever seen. The intimate narrative of his childhood in a troupe of traveling players, his years spent as a near-feral orphan in a crime-ridden city, his daringly brazen yet successful bid to enter a legendary school of magic, and his life as a fugitive after the murder of a king form a gripping coming-of-age story unrivaled in recent literature. A high-action story written with a poet's hand. I love that. The Name of the Wind is a masterpiece that will transport readers into the body and mind of a wizard. And that is the best way to break down the premise, because this book has so much involved in it that it's so hard to break it down into like a short formatted way of like summing up. It's just hard to sum up this book. It's like the gist of it. In my wrap up video, I will give all of my thoughts and feelings on it, and I will add more into summarizing it up to make it to give you a better understanding of what it's about if you haven't read it yet, or if you're on the fence about it and you need a little push to jump into it. I will do that for you in my August end of the month wrap up. Okay, and lastly, book number 10 on the list would be Stay Awake by Megan Golden. This is a thriller and suspense. I was like, I'm gonna finish my list with the thriller and suspense book because that's the kick I'm on, like I said in the beginning of this video. I have not read a Megan Golden book before. I found this on a thriller recommendation video. Someone was giving a list, and I was like, you know what, that one's pulling me in, that one sounds good. Here's a little premise of this one. Liv Reese wakes up in the back of a taxi with no idea where she is or how she got there. When she's dropped off at the door of her brownstone, a stranger answers. A stranger who now lives in her apartment and forces her out in the cold. She reaches for her phone to call for help, only to discover it's missing, and in its place is a blood-stained knife. Do what? Then, that's when she sees that her hands are covered in black pen, scribbled messages like graffiti on her skin that says, "Stay awake." And there's more to this in the synopsis, but I'm gonna stop right there because that's gripping me. That's a thrilling, mysterious, suspenseful, possibly murder mystery that's unraveling there, okay? So I'm all about that. I want to jump into that. Yeah. All right, y'all, that is my list of 10 books that I am planning on getting to in the month of August. Like I said, stay tuned for my August wrap-up video to see how well I stuck to this list, if any of these were DNFs, if I drastically changed in the middle of the month, or if I finished all of them. You never know. You never know. It's one big game. We'll see how it plays out. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, and if you have, what your thoughts are. What books you have planned for the month of August. If you have any you recommend that you think I would love based on, you know, my tastes as of late or my mood at the moment. I would love to know your recommendations. If you like this video, give me that thumbs up and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming bookish content. And as always, happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.